Hello, I'm Simon Kensington-Fellows, and this is a quick overview of the SEO concerns on the Plastil site. So Nigel, as I promised, I would go through a quick overview of some of the issues that I've come across from the site. So using the information that you provided yesterday in terms of keywords, then these are the kind of main keywords we'd be kind of looking at for now. I've done a little bit of keyword research using some of those, and there's a lot of keywords obviously that are more relevant than are currently on the site. So kind of plastic extrusion company seems to be a pretty good keyword. There's reasonable search volume for it for a local business. And it's reasonably easy to take the position on the first page for that one according to the difficulty score here. These are the competitors that we've got. I've opened some of these up to have a little look at them in another window, and I can go through some of the things there that kind of indicate that it shouldn't be too difficult to get a decent site with the right content and the right SEO and the right off-page signals ranking for these sorts of keywords. What would be really useful would be to know precisely what the buyer keywords were and how that ties in with the buying cycle. I don't know much about this industry at all, so I'd be curious to know what people type in when they're looking for the kind of services that Plastil offers. So that would help to formulate a good search engine plan. So looking at the problems, the solutions and the symptoms that potential customers have, and then dividing those keywords into symptoms, problems and solutions, and then looking at how that fits in with the buying cycle. And we can create pages to target those symptoms, problems and solutions, so that when somebody's searching, no matter what part of the buying cycle they're in, then we've got some content that we're ranking that will show up for them. So that's my kind of general philosophy on looking at keywords, bunching them together into symptoms, problems and solutions, looking at building out content for those three areas, and then making sure that those rank so that we can maximize the amount of search that we get for that. So that being said, kind of just look at the overview of the domain itself in Ahrefs. Now we've got a pretty good start. It's a 40 domain rating. The URL rating is pretty low, but then there isn't any content as to speak of on the site. But at least we've got a good strong domain to start off with. Organic search, these figures are all a kind of more proportionate than accurate, but these are the sorts of keywords that it's currently ranking for. Now the biggest problem that I see at the moment is that the site is tending to rank for this whole kind of plastic gates and fences type of keywords and shutters and things like that, which, having done some investigation, they seem to have another site that's dedicated to this. Now I don't know whether this is the same company or what the situation is, but it would seem that this site would be the one that should be targeting those sorts of keywords, and the main site should be focusing on the plastic extrusions and plastic profiles, injection molding and that kind of thing. So that's one issue that we need to look at. So this is just another list of all the keywords that it's currently ranking for and the various positions. So one area of fairly big concern that I've discovered is the backlink profile. Now either they've done some dodgy backlinking in the past or the site's been spammed, but as we can see here, we have got, this is the anchor text, and anchor text is the text used to describe the link, and that's relatively important from Google's perspective as to what to rank the page for or what the link is about. And as we can see here, we've got some very spammy links about these Isabel Marant, whoever that is. And as you can see here, the anchor text phrases, we're ranking for, we have backlinks with all of these unrelated anchor texts, which is pretty rough. So I've done the site's not been de-indexed at all, so if there is a penalty, which would be shown in Google Search Console, so if there is a Google Search Console for this site, then that would be where there would be any penalties that Google may have given the site would be indicated. So we'd need to have a look at Search Console to see whether or not there's any issues. But one of the things that is important to do is to get rid of these links, or at least, now there is something called the disavow tool, and the disavow tool, there's a bunch of people say that it works, another bunch of people say it doesn't work. Probably the best way to overcome this, if there isn't a direct penalty, would be to do some good link building to push the anchor text away from these, fairly high percentages, and dilute the anchor text with brand and generic terms. Build a load of links so that we can get rid of or dilute this to the extent that it becomes irrelevant, really. As I say, that's assuming that there isn't a penalty on the site. Looking at SEMrush, just to kind of confirm what's been going on with the keywords and stuff. So they're all confirming that these are the terms that it's currently ranking for. Now let's just look. So I've done a site colon, and we can see we've got 43 results in here. And we've got a mixture. I think down here there is a dodgy looking link. Excuse that. So there's a page here that's indexed that's not relevant at all, one of those kind of spammy things. Might have gone past it, I thought it was closer to the top. Oh, here we go. So there's a page here that's reasonable price, most popular, cheap, authentic jersey, hot selling, whatever that is. So clearly, and there's a basketball thing here, and there's some more here. So these are all, either there's been some hacking on the site, or somebody's been doing some weird stuff, but they need to be deleted and de-indexed. Done just a brand search, and things can't be too drastic because it is coming up number one for its brand search, which is good. Excuse me, it's pulling up the Google entity, the Google My Business. It'd be worth making sure that if this is fully optimized with more photos and videos, and as much as you can cram in there, the better. You can also start putting in articles in here as well through the Google My Business console, so that also helps to take up more real estate. So that's a good thing, but could do with being better optimized. Looking at a search of plastic extrusion companies, we can see here that these are the competitors. This is a little plugin that gives us some information. So as we can see here, we've got here a domain rating of 47 and URL rating of 21 compared to our 40 and 7, I think it was. 36 and 29 for the second one, 59, 11, 41, 31. So our site is 39, 28 is definitely in the right region to definitely get into the top 5, assuming that it was properly optimized. So that's a good sign. So there's good potential. The domain age is good. I think it's a 15-year-old domain. So that's great as well. and there isn't much in the way of social competition, so a little bit of social work as well. We could build these up, and we could really make an impact onto that. So the site in general, I mean, basically it's a fairly standard site. It doesn't have any content. That's one of the biggest problems. And the content that it does have is mainly about these. So we've got internal links going here. So we're telling Google straight away that these are the important pages, which is why it's ranking better for these terms than the other ones. So again, I think the sites need to be organized so that we know which site is targeting which keywords, because at the moment we're kind of cannibalizing the plastics extrusions and molding solutions with these ones. So rule of thumb, you need at least 500 to 1,000 words on the page, generally speaking. Can we see here word count? So the number 1 has got 747, number 2 has got 328, word count 539. So 646, 1,600. So we really need at least a minimum of 1,000, if not a bit more, to make a proper impact on the site. The other thing that I've noticed about these is the URL structure, and that's probably down to the HTML coding. I think it's using Microsoft ASP, but these symbols in the URLs don't help pages rank. And again, we've got a page here with no content on, so that's not gonna do anything. So we need to look at the content of the site, I think, as you've already pointed out. What we could do is also look at no indexing, or no following rather, the unimportant pages like the About Us and the contact pages, so that we can sculpture the incoming link power to the appropriate pages. So that just needs to have a tag added to the main navigation there. So these are the first couple in the competition. So as you can see, it's got a bit more content on it, although it's using Flash, so that's being deprecated in the very short coming future. So they'll obviously need to look at sorting that out. This one's a bit more dramatic, more modern site, and as you say, it's got a bit more content on it, and the content is more geared towards the plastic extrusions rather than the fencing and whatnot. Structured data is something that Google uses now to understand the site better. This is the structured data testing tool, and we can see that there isn't any. So really we need some schema markup, preferably in the JSON code. So that's fairly easy to put in. You just need to put some script into the header of the site. You can do that via, there's a tool that I use called Schema App, which enables us to use the Google Tag Manager to inject code into the header of the various pages. So you can mark each page up appropriately, so that Google can understand at a code level exactly what the page is about. So that's something that we need to look at. Again, this is the other site, a bit more modern looking. I haven't done any work on looking at the SEO for this site. There is a Facebook page for the gates, so there's something there. Now let me look at the other thing. It needs there's no little favicon in the top there, so that would be useful to have a look at that. Let's go back to the home page, and there's a tool called the Mozbar, which is a free plugin that we can use, which is here. Let's just turn that on and turn that off. So page analysis. So again, the most important elements of the page for SEO are the URL, the page title, and the H1 tag. Now, this H1 tag, there's 4 of them, so that needs to be sorted out. I imagine that's part of the way in which the site was coded. But really, this needs to be plastic extrusion related H1, one of those tags. The meta description could be longer a little bit, be more designed to enable or to encourage someone to click through from the search engine results. And again, this page title is super important for SEO relevancy, and we're targeting these terms here. So if this isn't what we want to target, then we shouldn't be putting those in here. We've got no alt text on the images, so we need to put those in there. And there's an H2. This should be a synonym of the H1, which should be the main keyword. Page load 3.2 seconds. Anything over 3 is getting on the slow side, but we would need to look at the competition really to see how you are compared with the competitors. And in terms of the markup, we've already looked into that. There isn't any. Let me just have a quick look at Screaming Frog. Now, there is some issue with this site because when you put in the plastil.co.uk, it doesn't know where to go. So there's no redirect by the looks of it, or it's an inconsistent redirect on this to where the actual site is, which is here. So that needs to be looked at in robots.txt or the htaccess file for the site. So that needs to be looked at. Just looking at here, where are we? So we've got, these are all the internal pages with their delightful odd looking URLs. So if that can be tidied up, that would be really good. Page titles, we've got duplicate page titles. We only ever want to have one page title per page on the site, so that needs to be looked at. Meta descriptions, we've got some missing meta descriptions, so those need to be looked at. Meta keywords, there aren't any, but there is some argument that, or some proof that actually having a keyword, meta keyword, does actually help. So it can't hurt to put those in anyway. H1 tags, so we've got missing H1 tags. We've got duplicate H1 tags on the home page. No over, so that's good. H2s, we've got no missing H2s. We've got some duplicates, so duplicate H2s aren't too bad, but generally speaking, the page needs to be organised better so that the content flows H1, H2, H3, and you use synonyms for the H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6 for maximum benefit. And these are the images and missing alt texts. We've got lots of images without any alt text, so the alt text should be descriptive and keyword rich without being overly optimized for keywords. So that's a general kind of quick overview of the site. There's lots of things that need to be tidied up. I think really it needs to start off determining what this site is actually targeting. That's the first thing to do. And what's the split between the two sites, assuming that they are linked in some way. And once we've done that, we can then decide what this site is targeting. Then we can do the proper keyword research, as I mentioned earlier, to look at how we best optimize the pages and the content so that we can rank in what is should be a fairly easy to rank search engine results page with the strength of this domain, assuming that we haven't got any penalties from those weird looking backlinks and the odd pages that are on the site. So I hope that's been helpful, and if you want to get in touch to ask any questions, just feel free to give us a call or drop us an email. So thanks very much, and I will speak to you soon.